Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about the latest adaptation of Wolfman. I've never seen any of the Wolfman movies, so I wasn't sure what to expect. This adaptation was directed by Leigh Whannell and released on January 17th, 2025. It's a pretty grounded take, but before I hop into my review, please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you, I really appreciate it. As a warning, this review will contain some spoilers, so please continue at your own risk. Lastly, if you want me to review something, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Thank you, I'm hopping in 3, 2, 1. The narrative centers on Blake Lovell. He's a San Francisco husband and father who relocates his family to Oregon to avoid the wildfires. Wait a minute, that's not right. I meant to say he relocates his family to his childhood home after his father's mysterious disappearance. There we go, that's right. The family, including his wife Charlotte and daughter Ginger, are on the way to the home when they're attacked by a mysterious figure in the woods, leading Blake to contract a strange infection. Alright, there's no sidestepping this spoiler. Obviously, he got infected by a werewolf and now has lycanthropy. And that's really the core of this movie. This movie is about an hour and 43 minutes long, and for about 75% of that runtime, Blake is transforming. Coming at this with no Wolfman experience, I don't think that's a bad thing. I listened to a couple other reviews from Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Johns, and I completely disagree that the transformation being the entire movie overstays its welcome. I genuinely enjoyed the slow transformation Blake went through. There's never a peak transformation scene, and I'm okay with that because this movie is more of a body horror thriller like the 1986 classic The Fly. I did a little more research into this movie, and director Whannell explained that he was very much inspired by The Fly. Specifically, Whannell wanted to replicate the body horror element of the werewolf mythos. So this movie is definitely more of a slow transformation movie than a werewolf movie. I think there are a lot of cool body horror practical effects, but if you're expecting a more cliched werewolf movie, you'll be a bit disappointed. Another thing I liked was the theme and acting. Wolfman is almost a generational trauma domestic abuse thriller. That's probably not the best way to word it, but this movie really plays on the fear of losing oneself. So, the supernatural elements of this movie are grounded in real human fears. As a tangible example, I had a grandpa who got Alzheimer's and it got so bad, it got to the point where he would attack my grandma because he thought she was an intruder in his home. The poor guy had to get locked up. I never met him, but my mom told me it was a very tragic thing for them to go through. Anyways, that's the general gist of this movie. Lycanthropy is like a dangerous degenerative illness. Christopher Abbott delivers a solid performance as Blake. He's a loving husband and father with hints of trauma. You feel very sympathetic towards him. He has a special relationship with Ginger and their personal moments are touching. Because of that, there was a moment in the movie where I was really hoping Charlotte and Ginger could save him, but as he continued to transform, Charlotte's actions started to annoy me. When it became clear that Blake was a danger to them, Charlotte continued to let him be close to her and Ginger. It was really silly. For example, if your husband pulls a knife out on you and is screaming at you, the first thing you're gonna do is get your daughter to safety. Julia Garner's character doesn't do that and instead creates drama for the sake of drama. So, a lot of the real horror is driven by Abbott's emotional acting and his POV of losing control. As his senses are heightened, the sound design really plays a huge part in building the tension. The use of silence and ambient sounds helps set up worthwhile jump scares. Adding to the fear, composer Benjamin Wallfish provides a haunting score. The music shifts from melancholic melodies to dissonant sounds. It is great at mirroring Blake's transformation. Visually, this movie feels very isolated because, well, it is. Cinematographer Stefan Duccio captures Oregon's wilderness with wide shots, emphasizing the family's seclusion. The farmhouse itself is very rustic. It's got old school wood paneling and feels very neglected. It adds to the suspense with your typical creaking, dim lighting, and general atmosphere of dread. In terms of lighting, there were some dark scenes that worked, and there were some dark scenes that did not work. Some of these scenes annoyed me because I couldn't tell what was happening. No matter how dark you think your scenes should be, if I'm in a dark theater and I can't tell what's going on, that's not good. Anyways, as a final note, I'm a huge believer that not all children should be actors. However, Matilda Firth, I think you should continue pursuing this career. You brought a decent sense of innocence and vulnerability to this movie. Wolfman is a grounded and unique reimagining of the classic werewolf tale, leaning into body horror and human drama. While it may disappoint those expecting a more traditional and fantastical werewolf movie, the film shines in its thematic depth and emotional weight. It is an intimate exploration of losing control and the impact of generational trauma, anchored by Christopher Abbott's performance. Julia Garner and Matilda Firth add some emotional stakes to the narrative, but their character actions are extremely questionable and hurt the believability factor. Adding to the flaws, some poorly lit scenes leave you confused about what you witnessed. Thankfully, these flaws are made up for with the eerie production design, cinematography, and haunting score by Benjamin Wallfisch. This movie has an atmosphere of dread and isolation, with tension building well. So, if you're a fan of grounded horror that explores real human fears, this film offers a fresh take on the werewolf mythos. However, if you're looking for a remake that walks a fine line between honoring the original and forging its own identity, you'll probably be disappointed. Personally, I had a good time watching this movie, but it's certainly not going on any of my top 10 lists. Anyways, thanks for listening to my review of Wolfman. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so let me know what you're thinking. Also, if there's something you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.